the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure for me to be back in this space. I was here about a year and 4 months or so ago for graduation, and it was my first visit here, and boy did I fall in love with this school. First of all, because I fell in love with all of these children. When I saw the works that they have done, the way that they have been cultivated and grown into more knowledge and understanding of themselves and of the world, their sense of celebration here, of the joy of being in community with one another from all sorts of backgrounds, and the excitement and energy of the teachers and the staff who are very committed to this place, who love coming to work here and most of the time don't consider it work, but it is an extension of their values, of their spirituality, of their ambition and vocation. So it's a pleasure to be back, and especially on this day in welcoming and instituting Lisa Nagel. Of course, we're not welcoming her. She's been around for a while and training for this position in a school. But we are so very glad, Lisa, that you're here. And what is here? This is St. Anne's Episcopal School. What does an Episcopal school mean? What is it about an Episcopal school that makes it a bit different from all other schools? If I can just share with you, just for a few minutes this morning, some distinctives that I think characterize Episcopal schools and why they are so necessary today, especially a school like St. Anne's. One of the things that we know that our society needs is some kind of basis by which we can live in community with one another. And so one of the distinctives of an Episcopal school is that it respects the dignity of every human being. Unfortunately, in our world today, we don't see that as much as we ought to. In our world today, people, it seems to be increasingly so, are separated more into camps, first by ethnicity, by racial distinctions, by religion and philosophies, and in our nation, by political affiliations and philosophies, liberals versus conservatives, traditionalists versus progressives, East Coast, West Coast, no coast, rural versus urban, white versus black and brown and yellow. We need places and institutions in our country where we can come together despite differences and express our oneness before our Creator God. Episcopal schools allow for that. We have respect for, as we said in our prayers this morning, for our shared traditions, values, and wisdom. And one of our values and traditions as Episcopal schools is to worship and to give thanks to God, and we have certain ways of doing that. The liturgical leaders, usually the clergy, vest and put on uniforms like we have this morning. We are the guardians of that faith tradition, and we are very committed to it. But yet we at Episcopal schools welcome everyone. It makes no difference if the student is Episcopal or not, or Roman Catholic, or Presbyterian, or Lutheran, or Baptist, or maybe not Christian at all. They may be Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, and others. And they are just as much a part of the community as everyone else, because we in the Episcopal Anglican tradition respect the dignity of every human being. We know that something of the spark of God is in each human, and everyone is loved by God, no matter what our faith tradition will be. So, Episcopal schools are strong at the core of their Episcopal Anglican faith as an expression of Christianity. And yet we are welcoming of all. That's one thing. Another, of course, is that we cultivate the life of the mind. We don't believe that to be a Christian or a person of faith means you have to leave your mind behind in order to believe in God. Yesterday, in our sanctuary calendar. That is our calendar of feasts for saints. Yesterday was the feast of Robert Grosseteste. He was a bishop in England in the 13th century. He came from humble beginnings, but here is something about him. He was a very smart boy, and he did well in school, so much so that he became a teacher at an early age, and he ended up teaching at Oxford School, now Oxford University. He was a priest. He was very committed to God. He also taught physics, optics, some of what we would call chemistry today, philosophy, mathematics, as well as Bible and theology. He was a bishop, and yet he knew that all of the ways of getting to the truth were ways that ultimately lead toward God. And in fact, the physics department at Oxford University was started by a clergyman. Unfortunately, too often in our day, we see that people of faith reject science, and people of faith believing that somehow there is a distance between faith and what we can know by observation. Not in Episcopal schools. We see a seamless garment, no antagonism at all, between all of the sciences, social sciences, behavioral sciences, mathematics, literature, poetry, art, music, chemistry. And are you kids learning arithmetic? No? Well, apparently many Americans haven't either. Geometry? Have any taken calculus yet?
No.
Biology? Yes. All right. Thank God we can do all of that at Episcopal schools and pray also. But then also, and the last thing I want to bring before you, is that Episcopal schools believe that we all have hearts that are drawn to God. Everybody has some sort of sense that there is a creator God there, and we give honor to that. And again, we do that for every human being. At Episcopal schools, we are free to pray. We are free to praise and to share our deepest desires and questions and concerns and doubts with one another. We have chaplains at Episcopal school, like Diane, who are here to help parents and students navigate their way in their life journey toward God. All of this, we believe, gives honor to our Lord Jesus Christ. My brothers and sisters, we need more schools like St. Anne's. We need schools where everyone is cared for, everyone is valued, where there is no limit to what we can study, what we can know, and also a place where we know that everyone has a soul. I thank God for this school, for you parents, for you teachers, for you students. You are the future leaders of tomorrow, you students. And always remember that you got your first start of success in community at this school. May God help us in our ministry to be who we are created to be, Episcopal schools in our society. God bless you all. Thank you.